Hey, it's Cate. I'm in my pantry. Anyway, I just finished the 5-day fast mimicking diet. I didn't do totally keto, but I did some, I think. Probably like 2 or 3 of the ketogenic days, so it's like mostly fat. And it's really low carb and low protein. So it's wild, like when you have like low fat or high fat and low protein, it's like basically like nuts and oils are your main, or if you do animal fat, right, there's that. And that's like, you're knocking out 120 calories per tablespoon. So it's not a high volume diet. So anyways, I bought the Prolong. I was working with a regenerative medicine doctor, Dr. Allison, Victor, Idaho. And she's like, before we do these injections, and I can't remember which ones I did with her, but I do like stem cell and I do platelet. She doesn't do platelet, but I do that in Mexico. In any case, I was getting some injections, and she's like, do the 5-day fast mimicking diet first, because then your body's producing more stem cells anyways, and your body will receive the new stem cells or whatever we were injecting better. And anyway, I tried the Prolong kit, $250. 500 calories a day, like you do the math. Those are expensive calories. And I'm like, they must be gold calories. And it's scientific, it's tested. There's lots of little packets of things and you open all the packets and that's just not my way of eating. So, and I'm also like, there's thousands of good fat calories. I'm in the pantry, right? Like I got fat, plenty of nuts and seeds and ghee and anyway, I don't know. I didn't like tally up like how much did it cost me to do my own version, my Yogahealer Cate Stillman's version of the fast mimicking diet, which I wrote an ebook for. So we have another ebook, of course. And that's all part of the challenge within the challenge. So anyone who buys the challenge gets that, and many of you are in it, which is why you're now listening to this. Or whatever. So it was easy. It was dirt cheap. I mean, like I really didn't buy anything. So it didn't cost me anything. I just changed what I was eating that was already at my house. And was it hard? Oh, I cheated. I cheated according to some people, not according to other people, I should say. Some people say you're not supposed to like really have caffeine at all. And I did. Like there's that bad boy, And so I did also bulletproof on my keto days. So I'd have black coffee in the morning, espresso press, doing it that way, Americanos, that style. And then by late morning, like 11, I'd do bulletproof. So I'd do ghee and MCT oil. Because why not? It was in my kitchen. It was calling to me. And I was like, I kind of felt like cheating. Like I do a lot of detoxing. And I was very serious last fall. And this time I was like, you know what? I think it'll just be fun and easy. Plus I was teaching a workshop, all-day workshop, Master Review workshop. So it's a 2-day workshop. And it's intense. Imagine that. Especially because we were working on vision strategy, which is just all fire. So it's like fire, fire, fire. So anyways, the bulletproof is good. Fire within to sustain the fire without. Let's see, what else did I eat? Not eat. Did a ton of steam. We have a steam shower. But I mean, whatever. Like if you have whatever. If you have a bathtub. If you have a shower. If you have 2 hands to rub oil on yourself and sit in the sun. Like it doesn't matter. That was my given nourishment. Sat on the floor. Did quite a bit of meditation for me. I used to be a much bigger meditator, and then I like really fell off the bandwagon, and then I was like, I can't stay off. That's dumb. Yeah, I think all of us are slow learners. You have to do it, and then you have to experience the opposite of it to be like, oh, that's why I do it. So whatever, there's that. Okay, this is really what I ate. Sometimes I have some nuts. So I soak almonds, and I soak them in salt water. And then, I know this is going to sound so anal, but like Ayurveda people are weird like this sometimes with our nuts. So peeled the nuts, put them in the dehydrator, fully dehydrated the nuts, and then they're just in my pantry. So sometimes I'd have like a handful a small handful, like a baby handful, tablespoon handful. And like, bam, there's like 100 to 120 calories, depending on. I had some roasted pumpkin seeds. I had a little bit of almond butter on those Ryvita crackers. Yep, I did that once or twice. Olives. I'm a member of Thrive Market, for better or for worse. I don't know your politics on that. But in any case, for my lifestyle, it makes my life better. So in any case, they sell these little packets of olives, and it's like, this packet has whatever, 50 or 100 calories of olives. And it's like, oh, great. So it's easy to track. I've never been a calorie counter. I've actually probably been a decent follower in the anti-calorie counting movement since I was like 14. But there's like some part of me that's like, I'm allergic to this. But then it's like, well, wait, what is this? And then the same thing with the macros. So macros is a protein, carbs, or fat. And I've always thought the keto people were so fucking so annoying because they get off on their macros. And it's like, what are you guys talking about? Why can't you just say like nutrient or something like that? But they put the fancy macronutrient. Anyway, so how many carbs are in an olive? Like that's how you, if you really want to get deeper into autophagy, I'm learning how to say it the right way. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do the ketogenic fast mimicking diet, which is also, for those who have it, it's in the ebook, the fast mimicking diet ebook. What else did I eat? Oh, this was big. I mean, in terms of volume. So I'd take a lot of water and I'd put in a veggie broth cube. That was kind of like my form of electrolytes, because like in the Prolon kit, they do a lot of like, we have these fancy electrolytes, and like, yeah, I'm sure. And if your annual diet is really good and has some local and wilds, like you don't need to worry about not having every single little micronutrient for 5 days. Like your body's busy doing other stuff anyway. So I think the fat matters. I think going deeper into autophagy, I think that makes a lot of sense, like the high fat. And this was another like, aha. You know when you have an aha and you're like, I think I've already had that aha? And it was one of those. So in Ayurveda, when you detox, you eat ghee. Yes, yum, I know, delicious. When you eat ghee, you lose your appetite, and you have to eat the ghee. You have to eat the ghee. It's often medicated. So here's your Ayurvedic doctor. You're in India, you're doing panchakarma, which is like, we are going to remove toxicity from your body, which is causing disease, because you already have a disease, and you're like, I'm over this disease, I don't want medication, or maybe I'll stay on the medication, but like need to get stuff out of my body. That's panchakarma. And in India, it's long. Like 60 days is not short. If you're doing it right, like the full thing. And you think like, wow, that would be totally inconvenient. It's like, yeah, well, so is chemotherapy, right? Like, come on. Theory of relativity. All right, so in any case, boil water, put in a veggie broth cube, and then I take nori. You know, nori is the things, those flat strips of seaweed that they wrap up sushi with. And that's why you can pick up your sushi, because of the nori. Seaweed is super thin. So I have a huge pack of nori. I had like a 50 pack of nori. Like I said, I did not buy anything, but I had a bunch of stuff in my house. Nori's interesting. It's like it's only 8 calories a sheet. So that was like, ooh, I could have like some substance. Because all I mean, you know, it's like a little bit of nuts, a little ghee, some olives. So anyways, I do like this hot water with a little bit of veggie broth or beef broth cube. And I get some, I think I could do BOU collection. They have some cool broth and gravy cubes that look like they're not totally bad for you, and they're fun and easy and good flavor. So there, that's what I was using. A couple strips of nori, big scoop of miso. And with miso, like the water cannot be above, like it would burn your finger. If it burned your finger, it's too hot, it'll burn the miso. The miso are like the good guys, like that's gonna help you poop. Might as well do that. And then speaking of poop, sauerkraut. And I'm not, you know, the sauerkraut, like it's probably, actually we could go look at it. This is what's so annoying about the DIY version. But I think it's only annoying until you get the hang of it, how you do it and what you feel like. Because what was good for my body wasn't, oh yeah, and then there's these things too. You heard of those? Italian snacking lupini beans. Okay, so that's the kind I like. And it looks like 5 calories per 2 tablespoons. Where is it? Where is it? Fiber, carbs. Oh, see, there's carbs, 2 grams. Protein, 0. All right, and fat's going to be 0. There's fat. So, like, that's the total annoying part of figuring it out for yourself, like what you want to eat. Because you're not necessarily going to want, you maybe want kimchi, and maybe the number's 3 grams of carbs. It's not going to have any fat or protein. So now you're like, okay, kimchi and sauerkraut are carbs. So the kaphas and the vatas are going to do more with the spice, right? Of course. Of course. Why? Because they're not already spicy like the pittas. So there's that. So I'd have that soup with some seaweed and miso. Yeah. Put in some sauerkraut for my carb loading, because you can, whatever. I don't even know how many carbs it is a day. I don't remember, but it's all in the ebook. You kind of just go by like the most of it. That's what I found, because I wanted to use some numbers, but I also wanted to experience it intuitively. So this is my lesson. The more you do it, the more intuitive you become. So like, the problem with the prolong kit is you don't get to access your intuition in that way. So that's like, well, that's a problem. This way you do it, and you don't want to be totally like numbers. You actually want to start to feel the carb protein fat ratio. That's what you're going for, is you feel it. You feel it. You feel what autophagy feels like. You start to feel what ketones feel like, right? So you're developing, a subtler experience in your body. Oh, which brings up the enema. I told this story. I taught a Master View workshop, right, last 2 days. And I told this story to my workshop people. And the story was something like this. My daughter's like, oh my gosh, we're not a normal family. And she's kind of laughing about it. And I was like, yeah, I guess. And so where we were was in my bathroom, and I was doing an enema, and I had added some liquid chlorophyll to it. And the dog and the cat, we have a big bathroom. It's beautiful. It's mostly marble. And everybody was in the bathroom. It was like, party in the bathroom because mom's doing an enema. And then I'm releasing the enema on the toilet, and that's when she told me that we're not a normal family, kind of laughing, because enemas are pretty normal. I mean, it's not something that's like, it's Friday night, let's do enemas. It's not like that, but it is like, oh, someone's in a detox, let's not be surprised. Someone being me, really, only, exclusively. I'm the only enema doer. But it's normal for them that I do that. It's normal in the Yogahealer community. Like, I would say, like, many an advanced yogi detoxer has a few enemas under their belt. So I was doing that. And that scintillating prana feeling, when you do that, or say you do Wim Hof breathing, and you stop after and meditate, you're just like, whoa, this is what energy feels like. And your awareness is going from the gross physical body, the Anamaya Kosha, into the subtle energy body, the Pranamaya Kosha. And you're starting to live more from that. So if someone's like, Cate, what are the benefits of the fast mimicking diet? I'd be like, well, your awareness moves from gross to subtle on all levels. In your physical body, because it's, more or less trying to find nutrition within instead of without. So instead of looking outward, because something else is coming in, it starts to look inward. Now, someone actually just asked this in the challenge, within the challenge, not within the challenge, but just the actual intermittent fasting challenge. She's like, I'm gaining weight. She's probably, I'm guessing, 50s. And I'm like, oh yeah, because awareness is going within, finding food. But when she's breaking her intermittent fast, right, which she's doing every 24 hours in this case, too much food. The body's like, wait, no, we actually found some stuff in here. We're sort of busy right now. And then you have like a big meal because your mind and your emotions like, I need a reward, I need love, I need. But that's not what, that's not what calories are for. Okay, I think, like, what else did I eat? Like, not, oh, you want to see the olive packs? Okay. So these are the olive packs, pitted green olives. Oh, I should show you some other high carb treats I got for the total limited carbs. This is just olive oil, salt, and some mixes of stuff. So yeah, it's 5 olives per serving size, 25 calories. The beauty of the olive is you get high fat. You get high fat. Also, you get high sodium. And that's something I also started to notice, because like there's so much sodium naturally, it seemed to me, like in the FMD, or like, you know, broth cubes, I have a lot of sodium, or olives that are marinated, or I use some artichokes that were marinated. And then there's also these crazy, see, they have these little, and I'm not into packaging, but I get that some people are into packaging because it makes the calories easier. This whole package only has 20 calories. You get 500 calories a day. So then you're like, what's in it? I'm just going to tell you because the writing's way too small. Sodium, 6 grams of carbs. See, the 20 adds up fast. If it is 20, I'll check it and put it in the notes. It's got some fiber, so I'm like, oh, I'd be able to poop. That might be a nice 20 calories to have. And that's it. So that's a high carb mini meal right there. If you ever needed, like, if you're a biker, like I'm a mountain biker, right? If I ever needed, like, oh, I want to pick my carbs up, break out one of those bad boys, right? Instead of a power bar. But you're not getting many calories, okay? You're only getting 20 calories. So you got to keep that in mind. And this, to me, that's what I had to answer the woman who was like, you know, basically saying like, I'm gaining weight, which to me means like, I'm probably overeating right now for this phase of dietary transition. There's different times when you need to eat more, for sure, and you want to mix it up. You want to mix it up. So you don't always want to, you know, be doing, say you're doing fast mimicking, you don't always want to be doing like a 16-8. You don't always want to be doing a 24, which is often, you know, like an OMAD, it's like 1 meal a day plus a snack. I've got to say, in fast mimicking, you're going to learn what you want your snacks to be. Because your snacks, when you're in FMD, that's a mini meal. And a mini meal, well, you kind of get the picture. Like, you still want to eat a real meal. You don't really want to eat a snack, because it's all you get to eat today. And eating's fun. And it is fun, right? It is so good for the emotional body just to be like, oh, life is good too. And my belly's full, and that feels nice. So what happens is that by like day 3, 4, or 5, your stomach's starting to digest stomach fat first. You know, and you might be like, I have none. I have no stomach fat. And, you know, if you're underweight, and that's true, then you don't get to do the FMD. That's only for people who are at normal body weight. So you got to get your body weight up. Can you do that through intermittent fasting? Yeah, I have that ebook on the metabolic types, and this would be like super Vata type. So you'd be looking at like a 14-10, maybe 3 to 4 mini meals. So Vatas need to eat more, Kaphas need to eat less frequently, in general, to gain weight. That's true, because otherwise what happens is the Vata overwhelms their Agni, their digestive fire. And then you just have like indigestion, which is honestly painful, right? Like you can get gas bubble to like the point where it feels like a real tumor. It's hard as a rock. Not good. That's also why in my FMD, like I really wanted to keep things moving and fluid, so adding some, you know, adding a little bit of spice, it's good. If sauerkraut's too cold, kimchi's nice and hot. Carb loading, I know, you called it. All right, so what else? So when you're starting to burn that stomach fat, depending on how much stomach fat you have, like we have a joke, me and Indy, that like we measure our stomach fat. So the way you measure your stomach fat, I think I've shown you guys this before, but basically you take your hand to your waistline and you're just like, how much is there? How much do I have? How much do I have? So this is a little bit more than I need. So you want like a good inch. So that's maybe just a little bit. You want a little bit more, just an inch. Just an inch. So if someone can do that and you're like, if there's like 5 inches, and I've been there, like I could probably pinch a few inches, especially not after. I just did a 5-day FMD, so I'm like, this is a nice time for me to do that for y'all, if you know what I mean. Because I'm Pitta Kapha, which means I tend towards cohesion. My body likes to build, it likes to gain, not lose. All right, so Kapha eats. Kapha OMADs are good. Talking about mixing it up, like after FMD and after IF. Kaphas can also do a 14-10, throw a 14-10 in every now and then. It can be called binge days, right? And you're just like snacking. Dr. Mindy Pels is really good on this. She's on YouTube. I'll put the link in the chat there. We should get her on this podcast because I think she knows more. She's looking at all the science behind it. And so she knows all the numbers and all the things like that. Super fancy. I would like to find out what she knows about Ayurveda because I don't know if she knows about the ghee. Because if she did, I think she might tell her community, you know what, we should try this with just ghee for our fat calories. Because then you're doing purvakarma. Bam! Purvakarma comes before panchakarma. So I think there's just an enormous amount of exploration that we as Ayurvedic practitioners of the world, yes, I'm calling on you all. Imagine this. Imagine you're in yoga health coaching. You're doing the business model to sell your annual pass, and you include in that four guided FMDs a year for your people. Like we're doing it together, seasonally. Throwing in a 5-day FMD. And now, if people are underweight, you can have them do intermittent fasting. And they more or less, if they're underweight, their job is to gain weight. So they'll do that through the good absorption. I already outlined that whole thing, the 14-10, yada, yada, a bunch of meals, mini meals. Yeah, so I think this is big in general. I really do. I think that this will be the biggest differentiator for people. This is Ritu Charya. So Ritu is seasonal, Charya is the turning of the wheel or the change throughout the year, right? The growth cycle, growth and death cycle. Of course, right? And death. Why are people so upset about death? Sorry, I don't know if that's what obnoxious, but that is something I'm curious about. If there's anyone I should talk to about that on the podcast, let me know. Okay, so that was my 5-day FMD. Other lessons learned are I have to do this 4 times a year. I have to. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. So there's a variation. There's a variation of the now. There's a few things I need to tell you. Okay, one is calorie restriction. Before it was called fast mimicking diet, it was called calorie restriction. Kind of, or they were on the same subset. So FMD would be it would be a subcategory of calorie restriction. And we've been studying calorie restriction on mice and rats for a long time, and it seems to be really good if you don't want a chronic disease. That's what they found in mice. Tougher to get the mouse to have a chronic disease if they just reduce their calories. Something about all their metabolisms are more efficient and stuff like that. So, the 5-2. What the 5-2 is 2 days a week, you do 500 calories. 5 days a week, you do whatever you want. So I think that's the other thing I learned, is that coming out of my 5-day FMD, that light's annoying, that I would just, wow, I wonder if I could, and I really want to do this naturally. I want to do this from the place of this feels so good. I just fall into it, it was naturally a 500 calorie day, not this mind over matter. But I get that it might need a little bit of, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that when it happens. That's probably the best way to handle that. But that's what it feels like. Also, so when I went to bed last night, I told Indy, I'm so excited to go to bed because I can eat tomorrow. And then tomorrow's today, right? So today I'm done. Or I was done yesterday. Yesterday was day 5, obviously. And I wake up and I'm I don't really want to do anything different. What? Seriously, I don't really want to do anything different. Or at least that's how it feels right now. It could wear off and I could just be dive in. So I don't really have anything planned. I read a lot about ketogenesis and the ketogenic diet and how doing a 5-day, 500 calorie, fast mimicking diet that was ketogenic, meaning high in fat, low in carbs, low in protein, that it was a really easy entryway in to eating more keto. Keto sounds like Aikido, and they have nothing to do with each other, but maybe they do. So we'll see what happens. I'm guessing, I have a track record with this, right? I've been leading the Yogi Detox since 2002, at least twice a year. So I have some history with doing such things like this. I think it was pretty bumpy after I ate the Prolon. What happened after the Prolon, actually, that's an interesting conversation. So after the Prolon kit, I went into what was more or less, I got triggered into about a month-long kitchery cleanse with a lot of green juice. Because I was leading the yogi detox after I did that whole 5-day thing. So I did the 5-day thing, then there's a week break, and I was just sort of eating, I don't know, cleansy-ish food, soups, kitchery. So soupy foods. And maybe some wild red smoothies. So I get these service berries I pick berries for hours. At least I did this August. Gallons and gallons and gallons of service berries. And a lot of people don't know about the service berry. They think it's not a great fruit because it's really high in pectin. So it's not like a blueberry. And if you're I want the service berry to be the blueberry, then you're going to be disappointed because the service berry is a service berry. I'd rather have service berries than blueberries because they are way more powerful. Wild food versus conventional food. It's do you want your friends wild or conventional? And you got to be careful if your friends are too conventional because that gets really boring. So that's kind of how I feel about service berries. So I had some of those smoothies and some soups and some kitchery, and that was more or less the month of October. In the middle of that, I did deep panchakarma, crazy pants. And on those days, I was just juicing or basically eating medicine, which is, if your body's used to it, good. It had been a while since I'd done it, and I was oh, right. It's detox time. And when you're in it, you're in it. And that's the beauty of panchakarma, is it just sucks you into the experience of softening to release, it's a totally different state of being. And, as Westerners, it's not like you're taught how to do that very well, unless you've gone looking hard for it. All right, and that brings me to courses. Yeah, I know. I teach courses. I've taught courses, since 2002. It started off with classes, and then it became courses, and then it became big courses. And so now we have courses that range from 5K to 15K. Most of our members, and I say most because I haven't talked to every single one of them, but it does seem like all are thrilled that they got on the inside of the community, that it became a part of their life, and the return on investment being phenomenal and priceless aspects. So that's, in general, the feedback I get from course members. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. It's kind of annoying to have to even talk about it. But I get that you don't know what it's like on the inside unless you're on the inside. And it's hard to get in the inside unless you're willing to buck up, because I believe in skin in the game, right? If I'm committed, you're committed. It's the only way that's going to work, because that's an equal sign. Now we can make an exchange. That's just basic. It's as basic as economics gets. All right. So courses, Body Thrive. That's our habits course. It's our cutting edge, people who really want to be living the habits of Ayurveda and yoga and see what happens, and being in it's like being in a think tank, but it's for your body and your mind and your spirit. So you're in there, and it's going forward, like a think tank goes forward. They look back and they look forward, and they know what's going on. And that's what that's like. It's incredibly supportive. I've seen... when it started out, I was surprised you showed up, and that was, 2013 was my first time coaching Body Thrive. And over time, I find it's continually all levels. My first group was all levels, and my current group is all levels. And by all levels, I mean the people have been teaching yoga for 30 years and meditating, and someone who's no idea what meditation and yoga really is, right? But it has back pain and has a chronic disease or a autoimmune disease, or is worried that they might get that because they don't feel very good, and it's been a long time since they felt really good, and they might give up on feeling really good, and that's not worth it. So that's Body Thrive. Living Ayurveda, 07, yep, it was the year I got pregnant with Indy, and I was in Sally Kempton's Shiva Sutras course with some homies. That was pretty amazing. And I saw this woman, demonstrate this online teaching business model in the Vedic tradition. And I was in the Vedic tradition with Ayurveda and yoga. And I was like, she's rocking it. She's smart.
She's written a bunch of books on meditation, but she was a Swami in India for like 20, 30 years. And before that, she was a writer in Manhattan for like, I don't know, like the modern equivalent of GQ. So she was this just like hip, cool woman, had a couple decades on me. And I watched her do this business model. I was like, that's amazing. So I grew that over the years. And that's yoga health coaching, where we take Body Thrive plus a business model that works, that just works for leading a journey. That's where I was talking about like the 4 FMDs a year for the yoga health coaching. Like, I'm going to be teaching that. That's important. This is important. This is next level. Humans need this. Like, if you have a friend that has an autoimmune condition or is diagnosed with cancer or is stressed out, and you're noticing like it's not good for them, like that, it's important. It's important to get control and change. So the Healers course, that's Living Ayurveda. The Teach Body Thrive and Teach an Annual Pass and teach whatever it is that you're really good at teaching and really want a guided journey. That's yoga health coaching. That's 2 years. That's $15K. And then it's interesting, Master of You. So it's that workshop. And this is where you're like, what exactly are my goals? Like, no messing around. Multidimensional goals. All that. And how do I make them happen now? Like, let's get on it. So that's Master of You. And it's intense, obviously. And it's 2 years and it's $15K. And it includes these workshops. You actually get 6 of these implementation workshops, plus all the weekly lessons and the coaching and part of the community. And like, you're on the journey. Like, this is what we're doing. So I think that's it. I think I just covered all the courses. That's all I have to talk about that. So thanks for being, I guess, curious of what else kind of, it's like what kind of education you might be needing. Like needing. I don't even go with wanting, right? Because like, you might not get your wants met, but you better get your needs met. And if you need to grow and you need to be people that are growing and are thriving and are learning and are changing and evolving, right? And that's the big one, are evolving. Then there's pockets where that's done well. Pockets. If you stumble upon one, get on the inside of that. Because everything changes after that. And the change is good. It's good for you, but it's good for all the people around you. All right. Well, I'm Cate Stillman signing off, the Yogahealer. I'm here in Wyoming. I hope you enjoyed my pantry kitchen episode, teaching. I don't know what that was. Catch you later.